Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is the first video of a mini series that I want to post of how-tos. So I started today with a foundation routine, so I've recorded that for you in this video, and the next one I'm going to do is contouring, highlighting and a few others, and I'm going to post them in an order of how I would apply it. So foundation, then the contour routine, and then brows and so on with all of that. So I hope you enjoy and learn something. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. The base to our foundation is always a good primer, and I mean, some people don't use primer, but I think it does work. It helps the longevity of your foundation, and it also helps to just create a good base for the whole rest of your makeup and make sure everything sticks on. I've got 3 primers with me today, which are the 3 that I use most. Makeup Forever came out with a whole bunch of different colors. I've only got this one, and this is the one that I use, and it's green. I'll show you a little bit of product on the finger. So it actually comes out green like that, and that helps. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on now. It's on my fingers. See how it comes green on the face, and you just kind of blend it away to become clear. That helps all the redness. So if you're somebody who has rosacea or something like that, this would be really good for you. But if not, if you don't have any redness in your face, another primer that helps that Makeup Forever came out with, they came out with like a mattifying primer and all different things for your skin. So definitely have a look at what type of skin you have and choose the right one for you. Another one that I really liked before I discovered the Makeup Forever one was this Inglot Under Makeup Base Primer. This one's very silicone-y, and it does smooth the skin really well. But since I have got the Makeup Forever one, I haven't actually been reaching for this as much, although it is still a really good primer that I would recommend. And the last one isn't really a primer, but it works so well, and it is the Nivea Men Post Shave Balm. And you can get this from like any chemist, Foodland, Woolworths, whatever, and it costs like $5 or so. And this one comes out almost like a moisturizer. So if you put it on your hands and then rubbing it on your face, it becomes tacky, and that's when it works best because it really sticks your foundation to the skin. So the one that I'm going to be going in today is I'm going to be mixing, I'll mix these 2. So I'm putting these bits, this one on first on all of my red bits, then I'll go with the other one on top. Another primer, just quickly, another primer that I've been using lately is the Professional, but I didn't want to add this in as a what I would recommend or a holy grail product, because I've only had it for about 2 weeks, so I don't think I've had it long enough to actually be able to use it properly and let you guys know. So I only put that primer in the bits where it was needed. And then I'm going in with the Nivea one, and I'm just going to put that all over the face. And putting 2 primers on is not necessary. If you just find one that is suited to your skin type, one is definitely more than enough. This one smells really nice too. So with this on right now, it feels really moisturizing, and for people with oily skin like me, that's not good. So just keep rubbing it in, and then you'll feel all of a sudden it will start to get tacky. And that's the kind of substance that you want it to be. So once it feels like that, that's when it's ready for foundation. People with dry skin as well, on top of a primer or before a primer, it is really good to use moisturizer. I don't use this myself before foundation because I have oily skin, but this is the, I don't know how to say this, Embryolize, whatever that is, moisturizer, and it's really old. Like, the brand is really old, and I'm sure you've probably seen it here on YouTube before, but that one is a really, really good staple for a dry skin complexion. I use that one before I go to bed at night time, so it doesn't really matter if I look really oily and dewy because I'm asleep. Just really, really good for the skin. So I've got 3 foundations here to show you today. We'll start with my one that I use the most and my favorite, which would be the Makeup Forever HD Foundation. I think this is a really good foundation that works with all different skin types. This is the one that I have in my kit. The only reason why I haven't been using it lately is because I ran out of my shade, and I sometimes can't be bothered mixing 2 shades together. But that one is really good, and I highly recommend that. like I said, it works with all types of skin types. I know people who are really dry that use it, and people who are really oily like myself who use it too. My second favorite actually was the Inglot YSM Cream Foundation. The reason why I haven't been using that lately is because it's a lot darker than what I am now, but this is my summer foundation. But this is like my third bottle of this, and I love this foundation. It works really well for me. I think this is more slightly more mattifying foundation than this one here, and it's a bit more full coverage as well. This is kind of a light medium coverage, but you can work it up to be full coverage. But I really liked this one for the summer when I was going out at night or something like that. So yeah, so that's one that I would use quite often as well, until I found this one, which is the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. And the only reason why I bought this is because I was in Mecca and I ran out of the Makeup Forever HD, so I just thought I'd try a new one, and I really like this foundation. It's really nice, a little bit more full coverage than the Makeup Forever HD. I don't think it's as full as the Inglot YSM foundation, but it is really nice. And I would say overall in all the foundations that I've used, these are my top 3 that I reach for the most for myself. As I said, this is the one that I use in my kit, so I would use for a lot wider range of skin tones. So hopefully that helps you choose a foundation that's right for you, whether you want a full coverage or light to medium, or if you have oily or dry skin. So today I'm going to be going in though with the NARS Sheer Glow. That's simply because it's the only one that matches my skin at the moment. So I'm just going to put a pump and a half on that on the back of my hand. And the way I go in with foundation lately has just been with the Beauty Blender. I always used to use the Inglot, 27TG foundation brush, which is just a brush that looks like this. And I did like this brush. It was really good and I would recommend it, but it leaves a lot of hairs behind on my skin, which I didn't like. And another thing I didn't like about it is sometimes it can come out streaky, whereas I find with the Beauty Blender, you don't get that streakiness at all. It's always just a flawless finish. Sometimes you can use like a brush and then I'll just pat it over with a Beauty Blender as well. But one brush I have been wanting to try is like a hard top kabuki brush, like the Morphe, I think it's called the Morphe, I don't really know what it's called, I forgot right now, mental blank. But a lot of brands do them, just a hard top kabuki brush. That's something I do want to try, but again, I can't recommend until I have tried it. So for the time being, this is what I use most of the time, and I would prefer the Beauty Blender, so that's what I would recommend. And the way I do it is I just have it on the back of my hand like this, and then I grab it with a clean hand here, and I just dab it on my face, and then I'll go in and blend with the Beauty Blender. So once I've got it dotted all over my face like this, now that it looks like I've got the measles or some shit, then I start blending with the Beauty Blender. And this is really just basic, just by pressing it in like this. And I'm not swiping because that can create lines and that's not what you want. You just literally are dabbing it on your face like this and just spreading it all around. And always remember to go up and over your ears and bring it down to your neck as well, because you don't want to have that line anywhere on your face of where you've put the foundation and you haven't blended it in right. So I always like to pull my hair back and just get right in there. Alright, so once that's all blended in, we're going to be moving on to concealer. That's something that I do every time I do my makeup, and it's a part of my base routine. I've got 2 favourite concealers that I keep going back to no matter what other concealers I buy, and that is the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer and the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. These 2, they're pretty identical. I feel like Maybelline came out with this as a dupe for this one here, but they're both really good. At the moment, the only reason why I'm using a combination of both is simply because I don't have the right shade in the Maybelline one for under my eyes, or the right shade in this one for like spots that I want to cover. So generally I'll use a foundation that's like lighter, 2 shades lighter than my skin, or 1 or 2, for under the eye area here and down the nose and on my chin, and that's to highlight. Then I'll use a concealer that is the same color as my skin to cover things that I don't want, like this pimple here or this scar, and I just do it the same way I do my foundation, put it on the back of my hand, or just use the applicator, put it on my face, and just blend it in with a beauty blender. I haven't ever really used a brush for concealer because I don't like the way that it finishes. I think that a beauty blender is always best for blending in your concealer. So what we're going to do today is use the shade 20, which is the same shade as my foundation, in the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and just use that for everything that I want to cover, so not highlight. And then just blend that in. And then going in with a NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer and just putting that everywhere where I want to highlight. So I just use that and put it in a big triangle under my eyes. And the reason that you highlight down the center of your nose and your chin as well is because you don't want just all the same color foundation or face and then just a strip of highlight under your eyes. You kind of want to even out the highlight in your face, so it's not just 2 blobs of white. So now to set that down, there is one powder, which I'm sure if you've watched any of my videos, you can guess. I always use the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I have used other ones before. I've used Makeup Forever HD one, which is nice. I don't love it as much as this one. I haven't used any that I love more than this one. I have wanted to use the RCMA, No Color powder, I think. I've seen other people here on YouTube use that, and it looks really nice, and they say, it's just as good as this one. Personally, I can't recommend anything higher than this. It is kind of pricey, but to be honest, I've had it for not a year, well, just under a year now, and you can't even see that I've used anything of it. So it is worth the money. There's 2 ways I apply this, and I'll show you one way with each eye. So usually I would either use a brush or a beauty blender as well. And I know it's really odd because, with makeup we're always taught that wet products and powders, or any cream and powders, they don't mix. Always do your creams first. So it was really weird going in with a wet beauty blender into your powder, because it's kind of a big no-no, but it actually works really well to bake the under eye area and make everything just stick on and not crease for the rest of the day. And I don't know if I explained, but as I was blending in the concealer, when I have it under my eyes, I always take some product, so blend it in under my eye, and then go on top and blend it into my eyelid as well. So I always make sure to set my eyelid as well. And the reason why I do that is just because then when I go in with eyeshadow, I've already got it set, because I generally use a concealer and powder to use as a primer for my eyeshadow anyway. So I just grab some product and then tap it into the lid and put that under the eye and anywhere I put concealer. And then just kind of wipe it away. And that's one way to set it. Or I'll grab the damp beauty blender and tap it into the product, and then just put it in the same spots under my eye. And when I do it this way, I kind of like to leave it on for a little bit longer, and then I always grab this brush afterwards and I just kind of wipe it all away. Now I'm not sure if you can see much of a difference here at the moment, but throughout the day there is a lot of a difference in what I did with the damp beauty blender. Is called baking, and that creates, it just creates a base where it doesn't crease and it holds the concealer in place for a lot longer throughout the day than this side will. So by the time I get to the end of the day, this side might have moved around a bit or wiped off if I have my hands on my face, anything like that. Whereas this side, it's harder to do that because I have kind of, in a sense, glued the powder to stick to the concealer and just keep it all in place. So that's the only difference between the two and why I prefer doing it that way. So after I have set everything, the last thing that I like to do, and I don't do this every day, but because I have oily skin, if I'm going out to an event or something like that, what I prefer to do is grab powder for no extra coverage, but just to set my whole face. And the reason why I do this is just to remain matte throughout the day, and so I'm not looking oily and greasy. And it's not necessary. This can be pretty much the end of most people's base routine. But for me, I like to do this, and I haven't really tried a lot of powders at the moment. I use the Makeup Forever powder, and I'm happy with that. But I do plan on buying a whole heap and testing them out for you guys and letting you know which works best. For the time being, I usually grab this large powder brush in F20 from Sigma and just swirl that around, and then just use that in everywhere where I didn't set the concealers, just to set the foundation. This also just helps the bronzer and everything else that you're going to be putting on top just go on seamlessly. And that's basically it. That's the end of my foundation routine. From here, the next video I plan to do for you guys is a contour and highlight routine, a brow routine, and so on. So this is kind of going to be like the little mini series that I'm doing here on my channel, but I'm going to post them in order of how you would do your makeup. So that's the end of my base makeup. I hope you enjoyed it, maybe learned something to help you do yours, and yeah, thank you for watching.